Okay, this is just a quick video, sort of quick, on how to, just sort of an overview of VAF MicroFlush backflushing controller. So what this does is, water filters, or like just media filters in general, you can get filters that can be backflushed. So they have like a valve, and you open it, and it runs water the wrong way through a filter, or just runs water through it out an external port that forces the water out through, just forces the water the wrong way through, removing any dirt from the filter. So it's kind of like a self-cleaning filter. This controls it. So first I'm going to show an overview on programming options. So it does have a backlit display. So if I cover my camera flash, nope, you can't see it. Alright, so next backflush is currently in 2 hours 54 minutes. We're not going to wait that long. I'm going to show you how this works. So first you need to enter your access code to do any programming, but I'm just going to show you the data log menu. This has done 2 backflushes, no interval backflushes, no external differential pressure backflushes, none of the, no interval in the last hour, no XDP in the last hour. This would show the last interval, and this would show the last XDP. This is total backflushing time, and total on time. This is how long it's been since powered up last. And this is your software version. Now if I say access code, I have mine set as the default, which is 21. Manual backflush. Push this, you can backflush all or backflush any of the filters. I'm just going to push backflush all. Oops. Okay, manual backflush activated. Backflushing. Okay. Now if you're curious about the backflush initiating interval, that is just backflushing on a timely basis, so you can set, like, for now, is set, like, 2 hours 59 minutes. And then XDP, external differential pressure, that is by a differential pressure gauge down here, which is also a sensor, which tells it differential pressure. Note that this is the slightly outdated MicroFlush. It now has, you can now install a digital differential pressure switch, and you can set the exact thing, and it shows it on the display, all that stuff. And it has more options, such as hours of operation and stuff. But this is an older MicroFlush, and it's the only one I have, so I'm just showing on this. Now to start figuring, settings menus first. This is maximum flushes allowed within an hour. This is maximum backflushes action. If it just goes over that, it will, for now it's set to alarm plus stop. And you have the options of stop, or there's none, stop, alarm, and alarm plus stop. And backflush attempts, this is how many attempts it can do to flush out the filter. See, it monitors. If it is still over the set point on here, it will try to flush it again. And you don't want it to continuously flush, so this is just sort of a limit. And once again, the same options. Stop backflushing. Alarm puts an alarm up on the display, and alarm plus stop does both. None pretty much disables the feature. That's all in settings menu. Timing menu. In here, backflushing time per filter, 12 seconds. You can set that. Backflush interval. This is how often it backflushes. No filter flow delay. That will be explained in a bit. Master dwell. That is the time between activating a master valve and flushing the filter. This is the time in between each filter flush. This is the time between this gauge down here telling it to flush and it actually flushing. So in case there's a like pressure spike or something, I don't know, it won't flush because of that. It waits a little bit. So now, assign inputs. This has 2 inputs. Input 1, and there's input 2. Here's all your options. Got disabled in case you're not using it. Stop, which stops backflushing. Pause, which kind of like stops the backflushing and turns off all flush valves. And then when you turn back off that output, or that input, it continues where it left off, pretty much. External DP flush, that is by this gauge down here. Reset faults, which resets any faults on the MicroFlush. And your backflush flow switch, that pretty much that is monitors flow of backflush waste. So monitors that, and if it keeps on flushing after it's turned off the flush valve, it will do an alarm and it will stop backflushing. In the timing menu, there would be an option to set that if you had that enabled. And it's NO and NC based on the type of switch you have. Now, filter flow switch, that monitors flow through the filter. Filter stops flowing, it can send off an alarm. And that was what the filter flow delay was in the timing menu. And it's NC and NO. So I'm going to set mine as XDP flush, and you also have input 2. Assign outputs. You have 5 outputs. Number 1 in my setup here is master valve. That's a valve that activates before the filter flush happens to sort of redirect more flow to the filter or something. And that is, yeah, and it activates, and then you have your mastered well, and then the filter starts flushing. Filter valve 1. Okay, oops. Master valve. Filter valve 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's all your different options for filters. You can have up to 4 filters on here. There's also disabled in case you're not using it. Fault, which is in case there's a fault in the MicroFlush. No fault, there isn't a fault. This is when they're on. Backflushing turns on that output when it's backflushing, and not backflushing, it turns it on when it's not backflushing. So this should be filter valve 1. You have up to 5. And configuration, power mode, it can either be power mode, battery mode, or AC mode. Interval backflush. That is like, if you don't want it to flush on a regular basis based on time, you can turn that off. And if it's off, it says wait for XDP or manual flush. I'm going to turn that back on. Okay, set access code. Pretty self-explanatory. You can set your access code. Yeah. Now, if a fault activates on the MicroFlush, I just flip the switch. Really simple to reset. You just push star. And that is sort of with any fault. So you heard that clicking, that was the fault output. And when you're done, just log out. It automatically logs you out of 15 minutes of no activity as well. So that is that. Also, this display is lighted. You can't really see it though because my camera light is on because there's horrible lighting in here. Now for the internal tour. Always remember to disconnect power when servicing. That clicking like that when you unplug it, that is just normal. That's just what it does. Okay. So now you can unlatch these latches. And this little hole here, that could be used to like lock it. So if you have a very small padlock, you can put it there. I mean, these aren't really secure at all, but like, yeah, you can put like a security screw. So first off, here's a transformer, AC transformer. It has an extra relay in here in case. So every output over here, which I'll show you in a moment, is a 24 volts AC. So it's meant for a filter valve. If you need a dry contact relay output, you can wire those 2 terminals up to the output. Here's where you wire AC power. A, N, and E. A being hot, N being neutral, and E being earth, or ground. And under here is a small fuse, 1 amps, and you could set 115 or 230 volts. Over here, power supply for the MicroFlush board. This is power supply board. You see, it can either be powered off this, or this is just AC supply, or it can have battery power. So you would order the one with battery power, and it's a AA battery holder. Now to the MicroFlush. Over here is what links down there. It's the valve and MicroFlush power. Got all your relays and stuff. That is an initialize button. Unplug the power off MicroFlush. Hold that down and plug it in, and wait until it says reset complete is how to reset it all the way back to factory settings. And that is a programming port, I believe. Here's all your outputs. You have COM, master, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Master is output 1, 1 is output 2, 2 is output 3, you get the idea. It's because that's the default configuration. COM is common, and each of those is power. And then here's your inputs. Can't really see, but this is COM, that's 2, that's 1. And then down here, which it's probably not going to focus. Oh, there it goes. These are really small terminals. Plus, LP, HP, and ground. That's for pressure sensor add-ons for this MicroFlush, which they now have. Once again, this is an outdated MicroFlush. And there is all the information on a MicroFlush you need to get started. Always contact VAF Filtration if you have any questions, and only do this if you are certified, and don't mess with other people's MicroFlush. Also, a quick thing, this relay down here is rated for 10 amps. 10 amps, 250 volts AC. There you go. That is information on how to wire up a MicroFlush Backflush controller. This is just a quick thing, and if you're unsure about anything, just contact them. I don't assume your responsibility for anything that happens, because this is a $1,400 device. So be careful. Anyway, that is how wiring and programming is on a VAF MicroFlush.